Hi, this is Emmanuel for inmodularwith.love. This is the long-awaited part 3 of our tides review. In this video, we are going to explore the possibilities of tides being used as a sound source. In order to use tides as a sound source, you need to be in the LFO mode, which is the orange mode in the middle, and then you need to be in the fastest mode on the upper left, and you get there by pressing the button until the light turns red. In this mode, the frequency knob is the coarse tuning knob, and the frequency attenuator is the fine tuning knob. Let's start with the general controls that will allow you to shape your sound by manipulating the waveform. First off, to the upper right, the shape knob transforms the overall shape of your waveform. Then, onto the slope knob. The slope knob helps you define the symmetry of your waveform. It can be used to mimic a filter sweep with no resonance, and in some settings it has these brassy tones often associated with Moog's ladder filter sound. And finally, the smoothness knob. Before 12 o'clock it acts like a low-pass filter, and after 12 o'clock it starts adding additional harmonics which sounds a little bit like a filter sweep with high resonance. These controls will remain the same in most cases. In fact, they will act in that way in all modes, on all outputs, except for the unlit mode, which is a little bit more like your traditional VCO. The unlit mode outputs a different waveform on each of the 4 outputs. Output 4 is a narrow pulse. You can use it to synchronize other VCOs to tides frequency if they have a sync input. Output 3 is variable pulse. You can modulate the pulse width with the slope knob. Now output 2 is a triangle. You can change its symmetry with the slope knob, turning a triangle into a saw. And finally, output 1 is the wave shaper output. You can use all the controls previously mentioned: wave shape, symmetry, filter, harmonics, and the shift level knob sets the amplitude. It goes both in negative and positive direction, allowing to invert the waveforms. The green mode, I find, isn't the most useful in audio, even though I can probably think of a few ways that it could work. In that mode, all outputs have a similar waveform defined by the controls, and the shift level knob scans through all outputs one after another. Similar to the unlit mode, it also goes both in negative and positive directions. The arrange mode is quite interesting. The shaping controls remain the same, and in this mode the shift level knob shifts the phase of the last 3 outputs. You can then mix them together to add harmonic content. The last mode is the chord mode. Here, the shift level knob cycles through different chords. In the middle, all 4 outputs have the same note. There's a small zone in the middle where you can slightly detune all outputs for that cool detuned effect. If you turn clockwise, you'll then go through a selection of decreasingly complex major chords up to the octaves above. Turning counterclockwise, you'll go through a selection of decreasingly complex minor chords, down to the octaves below. But another thing you can do with this mode is maybe use one oscillator to modulate another, so that you can get those FM sounds, whether you modulate the output or the pitch, or both. It will always sound interesting. However, there is one important thing to know. Tides doesn't have a mixed output, so if you want to use more than one of its outputs at the same time, you should definitely plan to having a mixer in your rack. I like to use Veils, also from Mutable Instruments, as it offers multiple output options, as well as VCA on each channel. I would also like to recommend this fresh mixer from the small French manufacturer Ph Neutre, 12 HP, 4 inputs including a stereo one and an aux output. You also have pan control and a stereo output. If you like using stereo modules like rings or clouds, you are going to love this little mixer. I'll put the link in the description. These are very limited runs, so get one while they last. I'm actually expecting one myself and I'll make a full review on them. This is it. The final part of this review is finally done. Let me apologize again about the delay. There has been lots of changes in my life lately, and I'm still adjusting, but I will try to make a steadier schedule for videos in the future. These take a lot of time and work to make, and I'm glad you seem to like them. Don't forget to share this with your friends and subscribe to the channel. The bigger it gets, the more I can justify dedicating more time to it. So your support does make a big difference and is very appreciated. Anyway, I think that Tides in this new version is a module that is so versatile and useful that it's hard to justify not having at least one in your rack. Let me know what you think in the comments. Mutable Instruments always deliver on one crucial element, and this module is no exception: musicality, or the ability to guide you through exploration, invite to experiment, and always get you somewhere interesting and musical. Whether you use it as a modulation or a sound source, Tides will open new doors for you. Each mode is carefully crafted for immediacy and musicality. None of them is a gimmick. All of them are useful in their own unique ways.